Hello guys, and welcome back to the Old Emo Dave YouTube channel for another live standard gameplay. This is John, and with me today is Old Emo Dave himself.
Yes, I am. Hello, John. Welcome back to the channel, as you are here more than me, unbelievably. How are you doing?
Well, yeah, I'm doing all right, man. So, Dave, what are we looking at today?
Right, we are looking at standard in its most prime meta form here, with Golgari Midrange versus 5-color Domain. Lucy on the left, who we usually see playing Rakdos standard, as Jay did bring out in the last couple of videos, is rocking Golgari today, so not so much of a one-trick pony as we see. And we have Josh on the right-hand side playing 5-color Domain. Both top level decks. To be honest, Golgari a little bit more spicy, and we've already seen here on the board a Sharp-Eyed Rookie, a new card for Murders of Karlov Manor, and a Mosswood Dread Knight. Sort of hit the board on really great tempo plays. So we got 2/3/3 here on turn 3. Whilst Domain is just doing its thing, where it's just trying to ramp to 4 or 5. And can we just have a massive shout out for some king-like behavior here from Josh on the right-hand side? He's realized that there is no score for the commentators and has put it out. Let's give the man some GGs in the chat for that. That is some top-level behavior.
You know, and I wouldn't have minded having our video editor, put the life totals manually, though. I hear he's
a bit of... I hear he's a bit of a lazy old man, so yeah. But Domain is ramping out as usual. Topiary Stomper hitting there on turn 3. Go and get themselves a basic land. It's a useless blocker. Does nothing until there's a load of mana left on the field. But definitely gives you sort of like a sack outlet or something like it'd be a very important now in Pioneer with the Vein Ripper. At least you'd be able to sack your Topiary Stomper. But they are on 5 mana. They do have 2 white, which is really a big important thing for this deck, because they're able to then cast on 5 Sunfall, which we can see in their hand after they go through the throat the Topiary Stomper. I wasn't actually needed then, so maybe it just implies there's not much on Golgari's hand to actually warrant doing with the mana.
Either that, or maybe in anticipation of the Sunfall, but even then they could respond to that at instant speed. Might have been a slightly preemptive go for the throat on the Topiary Stomper, given, like you said, Dave, it's a useless blocker till about 7 lands.
Yeah, and Josh and Lucy are playing here at Firestone Games on our standard showdown nights on a Tuesday, as we see an Axolot. I think I'm saying that right. Axolot.
Acklazotz?
The Bat God. The Bat God, which is, subjectively even better than Shouldered, really, depending on what deck you got it built in. And it's really good in this particular deck, in this particular situation.
I do think that sort of any mid-range adjacent that plays black, you have the option of Shouldered. Acklazotz have come in to be that flying evasive threat. Well, one of the few things that tends to make Shouldered better is that it's quicker to summon, but it doesn't have much evasion. You can't really finish the game off. You're kind of just ticking the clock down, but not really doing much with that clock. Acklazotz has other applications with its ability to force your opponent to discard a card. So it depends what kind of value and what kind of meta you're expecting to go into.
Yeah,
not entirely sure it's good against 5-color Domain, though.
No, and to be honest, 5-color Domain can 1-for-1 you on threats all day, a little bit like what we've seen with Leyline Binding there. A super smart heads-up play here from Golgari. What happened was Virtue Persistence came and gave Topiary Stomper a -3/-3, made it 1/1. And then because it was actually technically a 1/1, they were able to cut it down and destroy it, which, fair play to Lucy. That is some smart Magic play.
It is smart Magic play, but one thing that we got to consider is that is effectively a free 2-for-1 for Josh. In fact, Josh got a land out of it, which feeds into the ramp strategy. And Lucy, no threats on the board.
Oh, there's a threat, though. There's a threat. We just picked it in hand. Big Bad Shelly is there.
Oh.
Maybe the game changes. It doesn't.
Possibly,
Leyline binding, and we scoop. Game 1 to the domain
Yeah.
deck.
The thing that's happened here is a lot of these effects are exile based. So domain is able to exile creatures or other permanents on the board, Sunfall to exile creatures and generate your own creature. It just means that Golgari midrange, however they are playing, I guess will be considered fair magic. It's just that the amount of removal, even with Virtue of Persistence, you can't even bring creatures back because they're exiled. They're nowhere to be found. Domain, a very top tier deck in that sense.
Yeah, domain is one of these decks very, very well tuned, as it would say now, and it's gonna you look at the deck as a whole and go, hey, this isn't gonna lose much on this 3-year rotation when it hits, but it loses a massively important part, which is the triumphs. And that's going to hit this deck when we hit rotation in August. Now, we did have obviously the full surveil land elements, but you're not really looking to use your graveyard with this deck. So you're not going to be as efficient with your draws and efficient with your top deck. So this could be, should we just say domains summer and we're all living it, and then when we get rotation, we will just be hitting winter. But then they're not playing Leyline of the Guild Pact right now because it's very, very clunky. Maybe that's what invokes the change when that comes around.
It is possible we might see a future where Domain runs the Leyline just to maintain its relevance in the meta. But like you said, not having access to as consistent to a turn 2 Leyline binding does make it a lot weaker to more aggressive strategies. Now, we see Lucy did try to do that game 1, be more aggressive, which would help if not for all the board wipes in the world.
So duress has hit the board. We all know this means you can take a non-creature spell from the hand. We have negate, herd migration, and leyline binding. John, what are you taking?
I would probably take herd migration here.
Well, I think
my reasoning, just remove its access to deck thinning. It's a good card that exactly what I thought.
Exactly what you thought. So congrats to you there. Well played. And a nice little sort of preview graphic we got there just to sort of let us see if we're thinking the same as the players. I agree. Here migration, stopping the vamp was exactly what you wanted.
I mean, it's not necessarily ramp, but like the fact that it's able to sort of finesse into the lands it needs. For example, what we're seeing here is that Josh has access to 3 colors, and I believe a cave.
It's a Cavern of Souls. It's Cavern of Souls.
Cavern of Souls. Yeah. So Cavern of Souls, probably calling Angel, given the 2 biggest bombs in 5-color domain tends to be Angel cards. And we are seeing sort of what's happening when Lucy is going first and has a more aggressive skew strategy. Lucy also being aware that leyline binding is not as cheap as it can be right now, which probably warranted removing the herd migration cycle ability to get that land to make it a proper removal spell early. So Lucy's going to have a few more turns to just whack Josh. 6 damage at the moment.
Yeah, this Glisser on combat damage destroys enchantments, and that's basically all of the removal threats. So I'm not surprised Josh is like holding up here. It's probably going to look to take Glisser. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Oh. But Josh realizing he does not have domain.
Yeah.
And that was the importance of that herd migration pick, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. He had the ability to cast it for 4, but not for 3, which was pointed out. And just look at the tempo change that's created, because also Preacher of the Schism will now just allow drawing cards and making 1/1s.
Yeah.
Do they have a turn 5 here? I'm not
sure. Well, if Josh is able to survive this turn, now he is basically showing that leyline binding is active for him. Now, whether or not he responds to the combat trigger of the Schism, he's allowed it to happen. Currently 9 damage on the board, and Josh is going to take all of it, going down to 4.
He's not leyline binding the Glisser. That's incredible.
It's probably is probably the greed play of going for that Sunfall in hand, Shouldred being played, and cycling the land in response. Oh, and he does get that 5th land, but
yeah,
and he
he's
does
looking
have
for
2
white
white
though.
sources.
No, I think he only has. I think he only has 1. He has 2 Cavern of Souls, 3 Cavern of Souls now, and
oh dear.
So and it just shows like how important white source is in this deck. Having that form, you have 2 sets of sweepers. You have the depopulate on 4, and you have Sunfall on 5. Both are 2 white pips, like really important. Archangel of Wrath as well. You do get around that with Cavern of Souls, being able to name Angel, but also a really big, strong importance. And yeah, just didn't play out so well there. But just while everyone's sideboarding, it's a reminder that all these games are played out of Firestone Games in Cardiff. We play every Tuesday, we play Standard, and every Friday we play Pioneer. Come on down, you get links in the description. And if you want to get any like paper cardboard of any sorts, commander decks, or even deck boxes, dice, or even Warhammer stuff, follow our link in description. It'll really help out the channel and help us support the players with more prizes in upcoming events. So
I would have thought you had that written down somewhere, Dave.
You'd have thought that was like stuck on a post-it on my front there. But keys to victory here is to avoid a turn 1 duress. But as we can see, it's not a very big hand from the domain player. Just 2 choices here when we're looking at Up the Beanstalk or Leyline Binding. I think it's a very obvious choice.
Well, it does seem Leyline Binding, yes. That's purely because down to the land options, which again, I believe Josh does not have access to a turn 2 Leyline Binding. Because he has currently a swamp on the board, that being the Esper land. I forget the name of it. Yeah, I only know the old names.
He had access only to Up the Beanstalk on 2 and not Leyline Binding on 2, so Up the Beanstalk made sense to be taken by the duress.
Yeah, and we can see
them draw more like they're just drawing lands though, which really, really sucks.
Yeah, you kind of want to search him, not draw him, Josh. Come on, man, you got to do better than that.
And old art Lily that shows an OG player, but we are using the new art on the overlay. But that is the old art Lily that has been instantly Leyline binded.
Yeah.
But they chose to discard at least. Well, there's no reason to sacrifice. There's no creatures on board, so
I mean, -2 would have been a stretch.
Would have been what we call a throw in the industry.
Yeah.
But now, pay the land, pass back the turn. What do you do if you're the Golgari player? You are staring down potential sweepers here. Lucy has a few cards in hand, so hopefully they've got bomb after bomb after bomb, helping them take this down.
And let's not forget, Lucy also has access to the Manland currently. So even if on this turn Josh reacts to Shouldred's off the board, if Lucy has that 5th land, that's 4 damage coming in every turn. Exiling a key card maybe from the graveyard. Not sure if there's any sort of graveyard interaction in this version of 5-color domain. But it is useful tech.
Now this is really interesting. They're passing the turn 5 mana open. There is a trigger on the stack here. Josh has a Tidebinder. So is he going to stifle this trigger, or is he going to be more worried about triggers on his turn? I think.
No, they're going straight to combat.
I think overall, if you're worried that if you were worried about taking the damage on your turn, you still stop the attack, right? I don't know. That didn't feel. I feel like I still would have played Tidebinder there, but Josh will know this deck a lot better than I do. So, and Lucy has the engine. The engine is ticking, right?
Yeah, I do think Tidebinder. Okay, so Josh decided to Tidebinder in response to the shoulder trigger from the draw.
And now we get a fatal push. And now we get to go for the throw.
Go for the throw. So. The thing with Tidebinder, and I can kind of see where Josh might be holding it up, was the possibility of Lucy activating the Manland, because it could counter that ability.
Okay, yeah, making sense. Making a lot of sense.
but Josh is very limited with options in this position. He has one card in hand. Lucy is just running away with the powerhouse Shouldered card, not activating the manland, which insinuates that there are other big plays potentially coming.
Yeah, and the card in hand is Atraxa. So Josh very much is top decking for the land here, or an answer. Because I'd even argue you don't particularly want the land, because if Lucy develops a board and does any bit of removal for Atraxa, what do they have? They have Tranquil Thrillback. Oh, so they're gonna just okay. I'm guessing they're gonna destroy Leyline Binding. Yeah,
to get the Liliana back. Gains the 4 life, exiles the graveyard, all the modes activated. That's the big play.
And it would know it was discard. Did they exile the graveyard? No, they discard. They did discard.
They did exile the graveyard as well.
Oh no. Okay.
And this would have been the top deck Atraxa, and that is game for Golgari Midrange.
Wow. That just shows there is an engine and powerhouse within it. Not so much necessarily spot removal, but really well taken down by Lucy. We will have Jay on the next cast, probably eating his words, because there was definitely no one trick there. They just took a fight against the most dominant deck in the format and took it down 2-1.
Yeah, you may argue with some of the ways Josh may have played game 2, maybe, with his choice of lands, going for the 4th land drop, not doing anything with it, cycling with his potential second white pip, which he could have played that turn before. That would have been the only thing I think that might have changed the outcome of this particular match, but otherwise, it is very well played by Lucy. Every time picking the right card with that duress play.
Absolutely. Well played, Lucy. Well played, Josh, though. Good games. We are just seeing the tie binders and the gates come in quite spicy. We don't always see tie binders in this list, but I'm sure it is growing. We will be back to some more Pioneer. We have plenty of Pioneer coming up now, as Pioneer season is just around the corner. But any last words, John?
Well, if we're going to keep playing the duress game, I think the best thing is, just have better mana, I guess. It's very hard. Mana. Standard is have better mana. Standard.
Have better mana. Print the fast lands so that we've got a full set. And screw it. Let's have Shocks back, right? Let's have Shocks back.
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Then we're all back in Standard Showdown. Thanks very much, John. We'll see you on the next one. I've been Old Emo Dave. This has been the Old Emo Dave channel, where we do Paper Pioneer live and Standard every couple of weeks, when we can be bothered to upload videos. Thank you very much, and good night.
Bye.